Welcome to the Minnesota Association of Realtors e-video resource. My name is Chris Galler. Today we're going to talk about RESPA changes, we're going to talk about title language that's in the purchase agreement, and we're going to talk about the changes to the Minnesota Association of Realtors purchase agreements, especially that title and examination language. Historically, Minnesota purchase agreements itemized and identified which party paid for the various title services that were itemized on the HUD-1 Settlement Statement. Typically, sellers were charged for items such as updating abstracts, title search, title examination, assessment search, and judgment search. And as you know, buyers were charged for items such as the title examination, plat fees, name search, title insurance premium, and recording service fees. When negotiating a purchase agreement, buyers and sellers have always had the ability to negotiate these charges. As of 2010, RESPA defines all of these charges as title service fees and no longer allows itemization of title service fees on the HUD-1 Settlement Statement. RESPA now requires that these fees be bundled in the buyer's title service fee as disclosure on the good faith estimate, or GFE as you know it, and that these fees and that these charges on the HUD-1 settlement statement. One exception is that RESPA allows separate itemization of a seller's closing fee as a seller's expense. The reason for the change was to standardize how lenders provide estimates for title service fees so that consumers could compare fees from various lenders and title companies. That way, each lender and each title company uses a set fee for all of these different services instead of maybe increasing one or two along the way. In response to these changes, the Minnesota Association of Realtors Forms Committee, working with people from the Title Association and the Minnesota Bar, have changed the title and examination section of the purchase agreement effective September 1, 2010. And doing so, it eliminates these fees. The important thing for you is to know the new language shifts to the buyer the obligation to pay certain title service fees previously paid by the seller. Buyers and sellers may still negotiate who pays for all or some of these fees by negotiating a seller contribution in the purchase agreement using the seller contribution buyer cost addendum. Any seller contribution will be a lump sum credit to the buyer on page 1 of the HUD-1 settlement statement at closing. The 2010 purchase agreement no longer requires sellers to update the abstract. That's another change. In the metro area, abstracts are not used as often as they are in greater Minnesota, and you need to know that the 2010 purchase agreement that comes out on September 1st will no longer require the seller to update that abstract. For transactions that use abstracts as title evidence, communication with the buyer's title company and lender is crucial when estimating the expense for inclusion in the GFE and for calculating any allowable seller's contribution to the buyer. You want to do that as far in advance as possible so that the GFE is accurate and you don't get to closing and find that the ratios are thrown off. RESPA does not apply to cash transactions or contract for deed transactions. However, the purchase agreement still identifies these responsibilities, and therefore, buyers and sellers still need to consider negotiating title service fees in the purchase agreement using, again, that seller contribution to buyer costs addendum. We know this is a major change in the marketplace. We hope that you'll take some time to review the material that's online at www.mnrealtor.com. We have 2 education sessions coming up where you'll be able to learn about these changes. Please go to the Minnesota Realtor website to find out about those. Thank you.